well as the folks that. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa is with us here. Lisa Cunningham is the Director of Marketing and Communications for Greater Pittsburgh Arts Council. And she graciously is going to take over all of the behind the scenes admin stuff for me so I can focus on the presentation. So thank you, Lisa. All right, so welcome to this beautiful virtual space, and we'll get started. One of the things I did want to mention is that if you have specific questions that are particular to you, you can always email me. I am happy to, happy to email you back and chat with you. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Right. We are good to see that information right now. Everybody can see these beautiful balloons. Wonderful. Okay, so let's get started. I am going to ask that folks stay on mute for the duration of the presentation. There are questions at the end. We can have those. If you feel like you are going to forget your question, drop it in the chat. We'll be monitoring that. And then we'll get to all your questions at the end. Okay. And Lisa, if you need to interrupt me, just go ahead and let me know, because I am going to start the presentation. So welcome. This is me. I do smile, I promise. All of my pictures show me not smiling. A little bit about the Greater Pittsburgh Arts Council. We build a more resourced and connected arts sector, empowering artists and arts organizations throughout Southwestern PA by sharing resources, fostering significant relationships, leading advocacy initiatives, and increasing public awareness of arts and culture. The Arts Council cultivates a thriving, vibrant arts community for the Greater Pittsburgh region. We have a beautiful community and we love it. Right, so the Artist Income Recovery Grant is a grant that is getting named many times. So the purpose is to support the economic recovery of individual artists and arts and culture professionals from the COVID-19 pandemic in Allegheny, Greene, Beaver, and Washington counties. Those are the 4 counties that we cover. The PA Department of Community and Economic Development has provided the Arts Council with funding through the American Rescue Plan Act, also known as ARPA. These funds are to ensure the stability and recovery of the Commonwealth's arts and culture sector from the COVID-19 pandemic. The Artist Income Recovery Grant program supports the economic recovery of individual artists and arts and culture professionals from the COVID-19 pandemic through a one-time $3,000 grant. And the Arts Council has been awarded enough funding for 80 grants in total. The funding is reserved for individual artists and arts and culture professionals working in a variety of disciplines who have experienced a disruption to their arts-related income stream during the COVID-19 pandemic. And the dates for those are March 2020 through December 2022. So that is the time frame that we are looking at. These are available to eligible artists and arts and culture professionals in Allegheny, Greene, Beaver, and Washington counties. So if you are in this info session and not residing in any of those 4 counties, I have a gift for you. You wouldn't be eligible through the Greater Pittsburgh Arts Council. However, Lisa is going to put a link in the chat for the grant partner, the PPA partner that is administering the grant in your county. So that link should take you to a list so you can locate your organization that is sort of like the Greater Pittsburgh Arts Council. So have no fear. You may not be eligible in this county, but you may be eligible in another. All right, so that brings us to eligibility. We don't have a huge list of eligibility criteria. So we're going to go through them. The first one is reside in one of the 4 counties that we serve, Allegheny, Greene, Beaver, or Washington County. You must be 18 years or older. You must be able to demonstrate a COVID-19 pandemic-related disruption to your income derived from arts-related employment from March 2020 to December 2022. So anything within that time frame, it doesn't have to be the entirety of that time frame. You must also be an artist or arts and culture professional in one or more of the following areas. So I have the list there. If your discipline doesn't feel like it is clearly indicated here, please email me with your discipline, with what you do, maybe some links, maybe some photos, and we'll talk through it. I'm not going to read them all to you, but it's very big and very broad. And if you are an artist or arts and culture worker that falls within those, you are eligible. So those are the 4 eligibility criteria. In addition, the Arts Council was, because we were awarded these funds, we anticipate a high demand at the time of administering this grant. So we will be prioritizing awards to the following individuals: BIPOC folks that are artists and arts and culture professionals, individuals that did not receive a prior emergency fund for artists grant from the Arts Council during the COVID-19 pandemic. That was a one-time grant that was administered, I believe, in early 2020. I would have to look at the exact dates, but if you did not receive that, then you get an extra priority point towards your eligibility. Individuals who are caretakers of family members, and that includes parents, that includes children, folks related to you. Individuals whose creative or cultural practice is the sole income for the household. Individuals with disabilities, and if you are an individual that is active in the arts and culture sector. Right, so the timeline we are looking at, the applications will open July 1 and will close August 1. So they will be open for roughly a month. September 6th, the award decisions will be made. So we anticipate a high number of applications, and we'll be going through them from August 1st through September 6th. Once we make the award decisions, grantees will be informed of the decision, and then, they will need to complete documentation, and then funding will be dispersed around October 30th. And we will be announcing the awards and the grantees on November 30th. Just giving everybody a little timeline of what to expect. So the selection process, an applicant must meet eligibility requirements and submit a completed application with the supporting documentation. And we'll get into a little bit about what the supporting documentation looks like in a minute. Applications for the Artist Income Recovery Grant will be scored against a simple scoring rubric. So everyone that is eligible will get basically 4 eligibility points, towards your eligibility that I listed earlier. And then the program priorities will be an additional 6. Each applicant will receive the base score of 4. Applications with the highest scores will be awarded funding on a first come, first serve basis. So I highly, highly encourage you to submit your application and your supporting documentation as soon as possible. The application will open July 1st at 12, I believe, 01 a.m. Not saying that y'all need to stay up that late to do that. I will not be up that late. All right, so that is how the selection process will occur, and that will begin August 2, when we will close the application on this 1st, and then start looking through all of these. All right, how to apply. Some easy steps. You create an account through the Arts Council grant portal, which will be dropped in the chat. You submit the application and supporting documentation through that portal. An application is open and available July 1 through August 1. There is actually the preview of the application questions. It is open right now. So if you have a Arts Council account through our grant portal, you can go in and see the application currently and all the questions that are provided. So you can start preparing your answers and gathering all your documentation. So examples of documentation. This is the one I believe that folks are really interested in. So there are a few different ways you can show your loss of income, your arts-related loss of income through proof of canceled events or shows, performances, exhibitions, contracts, anything that shows that you were supposed to receive funding and it got canceled and you were not receiving funding. Furloughs from arts and culture positions. I know that occurred really heavily during that time. So any documentation proving that, emails, official paperwork, things from your employer, any layoffs or position eliminations, facility closures. So if you are an arts educator, things like that. And then if you would prefer, and it would be easier for you to show tax documentation, that is also an option. You don't have to have all three of these. You just have to have one of these. These are just different examples of different types. But for tax documentation, you need to submit two. A tax document from 2019, which shows your income before the pandemic, and then an additional tax document from 2020 to 2022, so any time between there, where the loss occurred, so that we can compare the two and see where the loss occurred. So it's up to you which documentation you would like to submit. I will let you know that you don't have to show a $3,000 loss of income. So you don't have to make it equal. That was something that the state was very generous with, very open to. All right, let's see. All right. So the next thing is I have some coffee shop hours. These are one-on-one assistance. You can meet with me. We do it virtually. It makes it much more accessible and easier for folks, but I am up to meet in person if anyone really would like. So I have coffee shop hours on Tuesday, July 9th from 10 to 4, and I usually give about 30 minutes. And as well as Wednesday, July 10th from 2 to 6:30 p.m. So Lisa's going to drop the little link in the chat to sign up for those if you would like me to walk through that with you, to look at your documentation. If you have any specific questions you would like to ask, things you would like to go through, I am more than happy to help. All right, so this leads us to the questions portion. Yes, I see there are questions.
Yeah, we did have some questions in the chat that I answered, but I just want to say it for the room. We got a question. Do you have to be living in Pennsylvania at the time of the loss of income?
Yes. Yes, the answer is yes. I made sure to ask that of the state. And yes, since it is state funding, you have to have been a resident of Pennsylvania when the loss occurred, not just this county. So I was also very specific about that.
And then we also had the question, is this for individuals? And the answer was yes. But yes, we have a question in the chat asking if it could be applied directly to the director of an organization.
I would have to look at that one. I would have to ask about that one. Whoever asked that question, please email me directly at the grants@pittsburghartscouncil.org, and I will check into that. That's a good question. Thank you. I'm going through these questions now.
If anyone else has questions, Carolyn has a question.
Sure, go ahead. Just unmute and ask away.
So I'm just double checking this. It sounds like with the first come, first serve, if
Oh, no.
hypothetically, the first 80 people starting at 12:01 a.m., if the first 80 people meet all the criteria, then those are the people that will receive the funds. Is that
correct?
okay?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Sounds a little bit like getting Springsteen tickets. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Or whoever
Oh, we love being compared.
Hi, I had a quick question about the documentation.
Yes.
So for me specifically, it was more so canceled events.
Mhm.
Would the document would adequate documentation be like a flyer with the canceled,
Yes.
banner on it, or like an email, like all of that kind of counts, right?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Just
cool.
showing
Thank
us
you.
that you were signed up, any email exchanges, things like that, that you were intending to do this, and then it got canceled. So that counts. Yes.
All right, cool. Thank
You're welcome.
Mona, we have a question in the chat from Heather.
Okay. Let me open that and go to the bottom. Heather, prove loss of income in a roundabout way by proving long COVID. In other words, Heather, email me and we will set up a time to chat about this question, because this is very specific. I'll make sure to reach out to the state and ask them as well. Thanks, Lisa. Lisa, I need you to be like around all the time doing this for me. Just being just anticipating my needs.
If you're Springsteen, I'm your groupie.
Okay, love it. Anyone have any other questions? Yes, Lisa, thank you. We do have some additional tips for applying for grants on our blog, written by some of our amazing interns. Yes, and then what else was I supposed to remind you?
Mona, we have one more question, and I believe the answer is yes, but I want to let you answer. I was living in Butler County until January 1st, 2022, and now am in Allegheny since then. Does that count?
Yes. Yep. Yes, because that Butler County is in Pennsylvania, and you are currently in Allegheny County. So one thing that I did want to remind everybody of, and Lisa will drop it into the chat also, is we have an event tomorrow evening called Our Creative Hive, and it is a arts professional networking event, and it's going to be at the True Tea Studios. It is free to attend. It is free drinks. It is a lot of fun and a great way to network with folks. See, there are arts administrators there. See if anyone's hiring, if you're looking for employment, or to talk about your art, whatever it is. It's a lot of fun. We get a lot of folks that attend. Right. Well, I look forward to getting your emails, any questions, seeing some of you in the coffee shop hours. And I appreciate everyone's time this evening. And we're going to wrap it up and call it a night. Hey, thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.